the weather forecast with Coloca and its multipurpose banquet hall, Il Palazzo.
Bonsoir et bienvenue à ce nouveau bulletin météo. I hope you are enjoying your evening. We would have a calm weather dominate the national territory between tonight and tomorrow morning, with temperatures dropping to 13 degrees in the Adamawa and Western Highlands. We would also have as low as 16 degrees in the north region and 18 degrees in the east region. We would have as low as 20 degrees in the center and south regions, with the littoral region expecting as low as 17 degrees. In the far north region tonight, there is no chance of precipitation in the entire region, and by morning, it would be the same experience in the entire far north region. And onto the west region tonight, there is no possibility of precipitation in the entire region, and by morning will be the same experience with predominantly 16 degrees. And lastly, onto the southwest region tonight, we have no possibility of precipitation, and same thing by morning with Bangem expecting the least temperature at 17 degrees. You may just want to spend this weekend at the Isobe beach of Idinao. Thank you for watching, and good night.
Pupils and students demonstrate the importance of bilingualism through sketches, displays, and rhymes to mark the end of the 15th edition of the National Bilingualism Week. Tonight, we get the closing ceremony. 48 hours to the close of the campaigns, political parties fine-tune strategies to grab seats in councils and parliament. In this edition, we take a look on how some political parties are scrambling for the lone municipal council in the Leke division. Vital forces of the Northwest region say no to lockdown imposed on the population by separatists. We take you to the Northwest region where a sports walk was organized in some major streets of the town. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on the 7:30 News. I'm Gladys Tata. The Prime Minister, Head of Government, Joseph John Gute, on behalf of the Head of State, has granted audience to the CEOs of the Russian oil company, Lukoil. During the audience, the delegation expressed the wish to partner with Cameroon in the energy sector. Details on the audience with Sisako Tamko.
The Russian-African summit held in Sochi in October last year, which served as an outlet to explore points of potential partnership between Russia and Africa, seemed to be bearing fruit with a visit by executives of Lukoil to Cameroon. The vice president of the largest privately owned gas company in Russia, Ivan Romesnovsky, received by Prime Minister John Gute on behalf of the head of state, is a strong indication of the desire to foster ties in the gas and energy sectors. The country could tap on the giant company's daily production of 2.4 million barrels of oil per day to boost its supply of petroleum products.
Currently, we have a project in upstream together with the company New Age, who is the operator for this project. We work on the Tinde field today, which is a gas field with some portion of liquid hydrocarbons as well. Today we're working on the front engineering and design for the project, and hopefully if the economics allow us to make a final investment decision on this project, it will be made by the end of this year.
Most of Lukoil operations are situated in Russia, but covers more than 30 countries, including the Middle East and Iraq, the main outlets. West Africa is a strategic region, and Cameroon has been earmarked as a point of growth for the company.
To have mutual beneficial projects with the countries that we work in, that the people of the countries that we operate in have to benefit from these projects. And speaking of which, we are seconding people today to New Age as an operator for the Tinde field from Russia. But as soon as the final investment decision will be made for the Tinde field, we are planning to open an office here in Douala.
Investments could also be extended to the rehabilitation of the national oil refinery, Sonara, destroyed by fire last year, after the data associated with the project would have been analyzed.
The 15th edition of the National Bilingualism Week officially ended in Yaoundé today, with students portraying Cameroon's bilingual nature through songs, dances and sketches. The event was chaired by the Inspector of Education in the Ministry of Secondary Education, coupled with the celebration of the National Bilingualism Day. Rainatu Sali reports.
You can tell Cameroon's diversity from these dance steps. Varied in its dance steps, culture, and even languages, Cameroon's 2 official languages are on stage today. The actors demonstrate the difficulties encountered in expressing oneself indifferently in English and French.
A crisis meeting. Yes, now. A crisis meeting. Do you think they are serious? Why not?
It's never too late to learn. At all age, it's possible to learn English and French throughout life.
They have come as they are from different schools across the nation to tap from each other's uniqueness and recognize that it can only be beneficial to belong to a country that speaks 2 languages.
We are satisfied because when we listen to the radio, when we call our collaborators from the field and we see what they are doing in their various regions and schools, we are really satisfied.
The tradition to celebrate Bilingualism Day and the end of a week dedicated to promoting the speaking of both English and French has been respected, and the most bilingual students took home prizes.
A ceremony to wrap up week-long activities organized in prelude to the 15th edition of the National Day of Bilingualism today in Fo in the Mefo and Afamba division. The ceremony was chaired by the Minister for Basic Education, Professor Laurent Serge Etundingwa, who reminded the public importance of bilingualism. Alice Mbe tells us more in the following report.
Cameroon is a bilingual country where English and French are used as the official languages.
Sketches, poems and traditional dances crown the week-long activities of the Bilingualism Week in the national territory.
French and English, building a solid foundation for peace.
A period during which learners exhibit their know-how in English and French through various intellectual and social cultural activities.
This is a wish of the head of state that all Cameroonians, where they are, be able to speak either English or French. But if you evaluate the situation right now, it's not yet the level. This day is there to let us remember that we have 2 colonial heritage.
The skills of teachers was also portrayed. In the presence of some government officials, the Minister of Basic Education lauded the efforts of the teachers and reminded them of the recruitment of more 9,000 teachers between 2020 and 2021. He told them to be vigilant and to be one and indivisible. The minister equally called on the students and pupils to love and respect themselves as well.
Bilingualism Day celebration this year come on the heels of the law on the promotion of official languages in Cameroon. This law protects the interest of both languages and the users of these languages in public offices and spells out equal use of the language in all circumstances. Beatrice Losamba has a reading of the law which lays down the general legal framework for the promotion of English and French in Cameroon.
That English and French are the official languages of Cameroon with same status has been a provision of the Constitution since 1961. The 2019 law on the promotion of official languages in Cameroon now comes to provide a legal framework to make this binding. The law obliges equal representation of the 2 linguistic communities in public offices, regional and local institutions, the state taking the responsibility to guarantee the promotion of bilingualism throughout the national territory and set up entities to provide training and build capacity. Section 5 of the law reinforces English and French are the working languages in public institutions, and public service users have the right to be attended to in the language they understand most. It is also the sole right of users, the law adds, to be served documents in the language of their choice by state employees. In addition, all official documents must appear in both languages, and the font size shall be same for English and French. The oral translation of the speech of the head of state will be done by professionals. Documents would only be considered official if translated by recognized professionals. Now, the law maintains the promotion of the teaching of English and French in the educational system and the celebration of the Bilingualism Day. civil status documents, headers of all documents, and road signs would be drafted in the country's 2 official languages, and much more attention is given to the country's bilingual nature by the new bilingualism law.
And until other news now, the population of the littoral region have been assured of their security on voting day. Meanwhile, election materials are said to be available ahead of February 9 polls. The revelation was made during a special program ahead of the elections on CRTV Littoral. Ebu Doris Fankem reports from our Littoral Bureau.
In less than 48 hours, inhabitants in the city of Douala will go to the polls to exercise their civic responsibility in the municipal and legislative elections. The door-to-door campaign and other different political effervescence that characterize the campaign period to lure voters have reached fever pitch as the campaign ends by midnight on February 8. At the level of the elections governing body Elections Cameroon, for the littoral, the regional delegate Emmanuel Kwadika says all the necessary election materials are already in their possession and will be handed to the 34 delegates of the local branches for proper distribution to the different police stations in the hours ahead. The population has been assured of maximum security on that day as they go out to the polls.
We took security measures when we were preparing Christmas Eve and New Year. We just project those measures to extend to the level of the month of February. We are just appealing the population of Littoral to be ready to go on Sunday without any fear to go and vote and come back safely at home.
Douala is therefore set, and inhabitants of the city are only waiting for February 9 to do their part.
Over 30 actors from civil society organizations in the East region have been schooled in election observation as they gear up for February 9 municipal and legislative elections. This was during a training workshop organized by the National Commission on Human Rights and Freedoms, after which 10 will be selected to observe under the banner of the structure. Tala LT reports from CRTV Bertua.
The National Commission on Human Rights and Freedoms will observe the February 9 twin elections in the East region. For this to be done properly, a training of members of civil society organizations from all 4 divisions of the East region, they believe is a burning issue.
The East region will use 10 observators of the next elections, municipal and legislative elections. Our objective is observed in all regions.
While in the field, these observers, trained by the National Commission on Human Rights and Freedoms, will carry out the following exercises: denounce electoral malpractices, identify and analyze problems, alert the competent authorities, and propose measures which can better lead to the respect of human rights.
We have 3 main components of the project. Firstly, we want to train first the civil society organization. Second component is to set up a national observatory of freedom in Cameroon. And thirdly, we want to work with the public administration through our focal point to ameliorate and protect human rights in Cameroon.
The fallout of this workshop, the organizers say, will be seen during the February 9 twin elections.
The vital forces of the Northwest region have organized a sports walk to denounce the lockdown imposed on the population by separatist fighters. The sports walk, which took place today in Bamenda, was occasion for Northwest Governor Adolphe Lele Lafrique to call on the population to overcome fear and come out massively on February 9 and vote in order to enjoy the fruits of the special status granted to the region. Details with Ngonige Shwaibo Shari of CRTV Northwest in Bamenda.
The sports walk that took off from the Governor's Junction saw the participation of people from all walks of life, among them senior defense and security officials, members of government, and other prominent members of the Northwest elite, business persons, and civil servants. Clad in their sports attire, participants in the exercise walked through some major streets of Bamenda, passing through the Finance Junction, the Veterinary Junction, the Ayaba Street, the Big Mancon Cathedral, to the Commercial Avenue Grand Stand. Through this gesture, the vital forces of the Northwest region were out to denounce the lockdown imposed on the population by separatist fighters.
It is too much to see people remaining in the house, so we have come out to say we want peace to come back to the Northwest. We want people to go about their businesses. We want people to start working as they were working before and let the development of the Northwest start all over.
The governor of the Northwest region, who received them at the Commercial Avenue grandstand, lauded their initiative and enjoined the population to shun fear and come out en masse on February 9 and vote in order to reap the benefits of the special status. Governor Adolphe Lele Lafrique also called on the youth of the Northwest region to equally come out massively and take part in the Youth Day celebration on February 11. He warned that any attempt to disrupt the election or Youth Day will be severely dealt with.
The battle to win the municipal seat in Monatele-Leke division of the Central region, a CPDM stronghold, is very tough. 3 political parties are contesting for the municipal, with each of them campaigning to win. Gerard Nanji went investigating how prepared these 3 political rivals are 48 hours to the polls. Here's his report.
The tussle for supremacy by the 3 competing political parties in contention in Monatele, the chief town of the Leke division, appears to be a fierce one. The CPDM party that has been in control of the council for the past 24 years will be facing squarely the Cameroon Democratic Front Party, FDC, and the Liberal Alliance Party, PAL. According to the head of the Liberal Alliance Party municipal list, his party is poised to unseat the CPDM.
I just want people to give me more power to achieve at the level of the mayor all what they want and what is not satisfied by the current steam which we has been handling the mayorship of Monatele for more than 24 years.
For their part, the CPDM party is upbeat to stamp their hegemony.
When I was elected mayor of the city, PAL will be beaten. And the young party, FDC, is an initiative of a son. He's trying. Why not? He dares, but he will be beaten too. And I would like you to come back.
48 hours to the polls. The battleground is set for the bout to begin in the Leke division.
All the political parties in competition, they are doing well. They have been holding their campaigns in good conditions, in collaboration with the administrative authorities. No problem has been noticed so far. Solutions are being brought by EDECAM with the assistance of the administration.
The different opponents are now fine-tuning last-minute strategies so that the wind of victory blows to their favor.
About 1,000 internally displaced families in the Northwest region have benefited from a special one-week distribution of government's humanitarian aid that ended today, Friday, February 7 in Bamenda. Handing over the aid, Territorial Administration Minister Paul Atanganji disclosed that the figures takes a total of the IDPs who have so far received the assistance to over 170,000 persons since its inception some 2 years ago. We have details with Ola Titanki of CRTV Northwest in Bamenda.
Life has not been easy for the internally displaced persons who benefited from the largesse of the presidential couple.
About 5 to 6 people are and then even the rice, 2 days will help before we start thinking of how the communities are helping. Before, we never had a good place to sleep, but I believe that with this mattress today and this food, with this blanket, at least the cold in Bamenda will reduce.
Reason why the relief materials will be of great help to the beneficiaries. The IDPs have therefore expressed profound gratitude to their benefactor.
I'm very grateful for the fact that I received this gift, and I pray that other people who have not received should receive it.
Permanent Secretary at the Northwest Governor's Office assured the IDPs that President Paul Biya is deeply concerned about their plight and their security.
The head of state is doing all so that you should not continue to suffer like this. He's asking you people to help him to make that peace should come back.
He also urged them to ignore calls for ghost towns and to come out on February 9 and vote, as well as take part in the Youth Day celebration. The 200 families who benefited from this Wednesday's relief materials bring to 600 the total number of families who have been served for the past 3 days.
Well, we'll now stay in Bamenda, where the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, has been reassuring the population of the security that will reign during this election. Let's have a listen.
Barely 48 hours to the end of the campaigns, I think that the general assessment is that the security situation is under control. The political parties are going around doing their campaigns, and the local population, I think that they have the intention to go and vote. You remember on the 31st of December, President Paul Biya, in his end-of-year speech, told Cameroonians that those who have registered should go and vote, because when you go to vote, that is the best way that you can participate in nation building. The governor of the region, the senior juvenile officers, and first of all, another they made an assessment of the situation. As I said earlier, I can tell you that everything is under control. Elecam is on the field, and I think that I can ascertain that elections will take place in all the divisions and the sub-divisions.
Some nursing training schools in the Ocean Division of the South region have received medical equipment worth some 1 million CFA francs from an American-based NGO. The equipment will help the schools improve on their training to impact the lives of the local population, as Polycarp reports.
5 different nursing training schools in the Ocean Division have benefited a huge consignment of medical equipment, roughly 100 million CFA francs, from the United States-based Brain Project Africa Foundation. According to the donors, the medical equipment is aimed at upgrading the health sector in the country.
We all know that our populations are having a challenge to benefit from what is supposed to be standard of care, and I think the best way you tackle the problem is by opening yourself to folks like us that have the desire to share their experience. And in doing so, we bring this material because at the end of the day, we want that patient that's going to be benefiting from that to have a better option.
The beneficiaries expressed satisfaction towards this initiative, which they considered will facilitate the working and learning conditions in their various nursing schools.
I'm very proud about this gift, and promote that they will be used effectively. So I thank very much the promoter of Brain Project for that gift.
The Brain Project Africa Foundation will continue this gesture in Edea, Yaoundé and Bamenda in the days ahead.
And as you saw in the report there, that equipment is worth 100 million CFA francs. The program dubbed Youth Connect, aimed at linking youths to the corporate world where they can discover potential avenues of employment, has been launched in the Wuri division of the Littoral region. The concept is part of activities organized in prelude to the Youth Day come February 11. Madon Kwele was at the PATYCHOU Vita complex to witness the event and filed in the following report from CRTV Douala.
Tomorrow's Cameroon lies in the hands of youths who are most often faced with cross-cutting issues such as unemployment, lack of funds to develop entrepreneurial skills, among others. Alleviating the challenges by connecting them to social and economic opportunities offered for their development is the objective of the Youth Connect program, launched in the Wuri division of Vidéo as part of activities ahead of the Youth Day.
The Youth Connect initiative was launched recently by the Prime Minister. Through this initiative, youth are called upon to develop engineering skills as concern digital economy. This by creating startups, developing new concepts that will ease their insertion and participate to the social, economic, political and cultural development of their communities.
These over 100 youths turned out at the PATYCHOU Vita complex in Douala to have more insight on the Youth Connect program, which has been made easier thanks to the advancement of ICTs. Authorities attest this initiative has begun yielding fruits as more youths have developed interest in a number of programs initiated by government for their good. For youths wishing to develop projects and find out more about the Youth Connect program, they can do so through the toll-free number 1505.
Culture page, there will be concerts and film projections in Yaoundé and Douala. Tati Eyong, Magasco and Erengebo will thrill the public this weekend. The film Tales of Africa will be projected on Sunday at the French Institute in Yaoundé. More on the weekend cultural agenda with Natasha Lehman-Losha.
Let's set the ball rolling with music. Afro jazz artist Tati Eyong drops her first album tonight, titled Envole-toi. A live concert to this effect is built for the French Institute of Yaoundé. Douala, Hervé Gebo, Afro and jazz beats will suit the hearts of the public this evening at La Chaumière Jazz Club Bonapriso. Magasco, aka Bamenda Boy, uprising musician Jordan the Monster and many others will perform this Saturday at Collège Vogt. Then the red carpet will be rolled out to Ivorian artist Suspect 95 and Ivoro Jazz as they set out for a live concert this Saturday evening at the Yaoundé Omnisport Stadium. In cinema, Birds of Prey, a superhero American film, will be projected this Saturday at the Canal Olympia Hall of Douala as from 10:30 p.m. We close off the weekend's cultural agenda with the film Tales of Africa to be screened 2 p.m. at the French Institute of Yaoundé. Have a blessed weekend.
In sports, football, rugby, as well as judo will characterize this weekend. Les Astres FC are poised to further consolidate their lead in the Elite 2, while Cameroon's judo teams are positive about getting tickets for the Olympic Games in Japan this year. More with Daniel Ekonde.
The weekend is well on course with the 19 games of football's Elite 2 Championship this Saturday. Having opened a 7-point gap at the top of the table, the Zastre Football Club of Douala hosts Unisport of Bafang in Limbe. Relegation-bound Foncha Street travel to Ngaoundere FC. Fouf Azul welcome Leopard FC at the Fekafut Technical Center, Odza. A friendly match between Cameroon's national rugby team and the local selection tomorrow will cap off a 3-day training session in the sport. The men have been in camp under the watch of British expert Nick Salah. The Catholic University Institute of Central Africa campus at Kol Bisong will host the friendly. Elsewhere, Cameroon will be hoping to get all its 5 judokas qualified for this year's Olympic Games in Japan when they engage in qualifiers this weekend in Paris. It's the Paris Grand Slam. According to the president of FECA Judo, Christian-Henri Kinge, the country has qualified 1 judoka for the Olympics.
Well, it is on this sports news that we draw